Hello and welcome back to the John and Adrian podcast. This week, or we're gonna do a pick'ems later on in the episode, but right now we're gonna start off with some NBA news. The NBA playoffs, Clippers, Lakers, Western Conference Finals. Right now, it's 3-1 in both of those series, but it's fairly safe to say Clippers, Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much else we can like.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Raptors Celtics though I think is a little bit cooler situation because the Raptors actually forced a game 7, which I did not think they were gonna do.
Me neither. I'm I'm a little concerned about my pick. I thought the Celtics were gonna hand it to them, but
Right.
of all the series, this is definitely the one I thought would go to Game 7.
Right. I definitely based off the first two games and the Celtics going up 2-0 definitely gave me the impression, and it gave you the impression that the Celtics were going to take care of them, but
Yeah.
the Celtics just haven't been able. But 2-0 in a series doesn't mean an automatic victory. It just means that you should win, right? But
Yes.
obviously they weren't able to do that, so now they're in a game 7, which should be fun to watch because I believe game 6 was double overtime, or was it just
Something like that.
Yeah, so it was really close. And then the Heat, killers. All right, that's.
I think it's interesting though. All of the Celtics Raptors games have been close except for the first game and the fifth
5.
game, and both of those were Celtics blowouts.
Right. I don't know.
This next game will be interesting. If it's close, then I'm gonna be like, oh, it's either way. But
Right.
I wouldn't expect the Raptors to run away with it. They're gonna barely pull it out if they do.
Right. It's either going to be a close game or the Celtics are going to find out and blow them out. Okay. So let's move into the main topics of this week's episode is some NFL news. I want to right off the bat, Kareem Hunt got a 2-year extension with the Cleveland Browns, which that surprised me. I don't know if it's
it surprises me too. I would not have expected that.
Right, especially when the Browns have Nick Chubb, right? And Nick Chubb's a really good running back. So I guess they want to have the best running back duo, which, I mean, it's good in the NFL if you have like a committee of running backs, but it's like, I don't remember his exact deal, so it's probably still cheap. So it's probably still a very good deal for Cleveland. But I feel like Kareem probably could have gotten more on the open market, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's 2 years, $13 million extension on whatever contract he was already on, which I believe was his rookie contract.
That or like the rookie minimum or something like that. So jumping off Kareem Hunt, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna go a little bit faster at the beginning part of this episode, just to get to the picks because I feel like that's gonna be like the main bulk of this episode.
We actually talk about him. Yeah. Take a while.
Von Miller is most likely going to be out for the rest of the season. He suffered from a lower leg injury on, I want to say Wednesday or Tuesday. It was he injured a tendon in his ankle, and I forget the exact name of the tendon, but apparently it somehow connects your entire body. Like it goes all the way up your leg and like into your arms and like back. I don't know if that's true or whatever, but it's like he's out for the season.
Peroneal tendon.
Yeah, he has to have surgery, and best case scenario is he's back for the playoffs, is my understanding. But I don't know if the Broncos will be in a situation for them to be in the playoffs, and even then, if he's healthy enough to come back, I don't think he will because of how serious this injury actually sounds, right?
Yeah.
Well, with modern medicine, like he'll be back next season, but if this was like 10 years ago, this would be a career-ending injury. So could always be worse, but yeah, he's out basically for the entire season.
Broncos fans are crying though. They're like, we finally get Bradley Chubb back, and then Von Miller's gone.
Right. This I feel like I believe like if we were to use baseball terms, right? Like WAR, well, wins over replacement, right? Like Von Miller's replacement. Von Miller is at least a game on the Broncos schedule, right? They lost a game by Von Miller being out, so
Yeah.
it's hard because like I felt like the Broncos were there, right? Like offensively, they had pieces. You know, they had young talent that if they pop off,
shot at the playoffs this
right?
season.
But now that because Von Miller gives you ability to, like, he requires two like linemen or something on him at all times, right?
Yeah.
So that opens up other holes. So not having that is going to be very detrimental to the Broncos offense. But I guess in the Corona season, we're gonna have to see how that actually affects things.
Yeah. Well, they have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator, who's one of the best defensive coordinators the league's ever seen. I mean, he was so they could still pull it out and manage to have a very good pass rush or something.
Right, and
But it definitely is a huge blow. Although I will say that if you're gonna take a season off for surgery, this is the season to do it.
right, this is definitely the season where odds are halfway through the season everyone gets COVID and the season is canceled. So, you know, it's not that detrimental.
Yeah.
So next bit of news from the past week, Jalen Ramsey signs a 5-year extension worth $100 million.
Wow.
Yeah, big money for Jalen Ramsey. I'm assuming his contract is a Patrick Mahomes type deal where it's all backloaded. So, I mean, I don't know if it's
he has 71.2 million signing.
no, I think what? No, he has
71.2 million at signing is the largest guarantee to a defensive back.
His money, it's guaranteed, and then he has like a 20 mil signing bonus or something. So it's a lot of money, yeah. Do I think he's worth it? I don't know.
He was valued at 13.7 million entering this season.
Right. It's a lot of money. I don't think he's worth it.
Especially since the Rams are a team that needs to be very concerned about how they spend their money, right? You know, they threw a lot of money at Goff and Donald, and those contracts are going to bite them in the butt.
I don't think they need to, like, they offloaded a bunch of contracts this offseason, and that's why, like, right now we're in a cap situation, but like come next season and the seasons following that, like, we get freed up because like we shed, like, the Rams shed the dead money of like the Brandon Cooks deal, the Todd Gurley deal, right? So, and even then, the Aaron Donald deal is worth it, right? Like, Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman in the NFL. Like, he plays every single game. He's a monster. He forces triple teams. Like, he's triple teamed a majority of games. So he deserves his money.
I'm looking at Jalen's contract right now, and this year he's gonna hit 1.2 million base. So this is the guaranteed money that's gonna hit 1.2 million this year. Then next year 17.5, then 15, then 17, then 14.5, then 15.5. So every year you're hitting consistent amounts.
Right,
it's not like they front loaded or back loaded it.
Oh, okay, so it's even throughout. So
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, it's not as bad then.
Yeah, it's better than like 1, 2, 3, and then suddenly 25 mil.
Right. So is he worth it? Probably not right now, but if he gets back to his 2017 form and locks down every receiver he faces, which he faces a lot of good receivers.
He does.
So
especially he's going to be up against
DeAndre Hopkins for the next 3-4 years.
And I noticed one thing the Rams tend to do is they'll put a corner or two corners on Kittle, so he'll likely be on him a couple times a game. And then the Seahawks have Lockett and DK Metcalf, and they're short and big, so they have like specific play styles, but neither of them are a receiver to be taken lightly.
Right? There's like, honestly, if receivers are going to get money, the people that guard receivers should be getting a decent relative amount of money.
He's one of, if you don't think he's the best, I mean, he's
top 5
at worst, I'd say.
Yeah, so if he sustains his like career trajectory of like the Hall of Fame, it'll be worth it, right? If he falls off, then it was a waste of money.
He's 26 years old right now, and this is a 6-year contract. So you're gonna have him till he's 32, his last 2 seasons, you're gonna still be paying him 15 mil, which is a big. I mean, that's a long time to expect him to play at like an all-pro level.
Right. Okay, so Ryan Shazier finally retires. Or he announced his retirement earlier this week.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we both expected him to retire. I don't think he was going to come back, but you know, good at him. Like good, he tried to come back, and you have to respect him. The man was told that he was never going to walk again, right? Mm-hmm. So big ups.
Yeah.
This is my favorite bit of news. So Aqib Talib also announced his retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before he retired, he was called by Bill Belichick and was asked to like go on the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Aqib Talib looked up the Patriots schedule because Bill Belichick in his meeting with Aqib Talib apparently told him like, hey, we're probably going to have you guard tight ends this season, right? And Aqib Talib was like, oh, word, I'll look up all the tight ends that the Patriots have to face. And he was like, oh my God, the Patriots have to face Kittle, Kelsey, like every tight end in the league. And Aqib Talib was like, no, I can't. No, like he can't. So honestly, what that shows me is the Patriots. If you're playing the Patriots and you're tight end, like if you have that tight end, he's gonna have a monster game. Like,
go pick up that fantasy tight end that week. Whoever the Patriots be playing,
whoever the Patriots are playing, pick up that tight end.
I don't care if it's the Dolphins. Go get Mike Gesicki. He's gonna ball out.
Right, like every single tight end is going to ball out against the Patriots. It does not matter.
Because think about like Aqib Talib isn't like an amazing cornerback at this point in career. He's solid. I mean, he's good enough to start, I'd say.
Right. On a majority of the teams on this in the league.
Average team, yeah. But I mean, he is not someone that should be guarding a tight end, I don't think. I mean, maybe a couple years ago you could say that he would be able to keep up with them and fight with them and stuff, but now they're just bigger and stronger than he is, especially when you look at the tight ends he would have been going up against. It's like they'd stiff arm him and he'd be on the ground.
He'd get bullied. He'd really get bullied. Mm-hmm. But the Patriots, we've been saying, have lost every single piece on their defense, right? Like they lost their entire starting linebacking core from last season. Stephon Gilmore is like Stephon Gilmore, and then I believe
a couple defensive linemen.
The McCourty brothers.
They both stayed too.
They stayed. So it's like they have pieces in their secondary, but other than that, it's really empty.
Is gone.
Right. So look for teams to run on the Patriots, to lob it to their tight end.
Yeah. Going into the season, I thought they would still win their division and have a decent record, like 10-6, 9-7. And then I looked and saw that they got the hardest by the opt-outs, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Right. 9 players opted out of the Patriots organization.
I don't think another team even had more than 4.
Right. I don't think anyone in the NFC West opted out. Because I know no one on the Rams did, and I don't think anyone on the
I
49ers.
think someone no. So the 49ers had 2 players opt out, but both of them were like free agents we signed, and then they just never made it out.
Okay. So there
Like
were players
Travis
that were never on
Benjamin
the
was one of the
team.
guys that opted out.
Right. They were technically on the team, but they were really never on the team because
Yeah.
they signed their contract.
I didn't even know we signed them.
Right.
That's how little they had to do with our team.
They were just hoping they could get a ring next season, right? Yeah, okay, so Thursday's game happened. Texans, Chiefs. We both said the Chiefs are gonna win, and they won. But this is my gripe with the game itself. So we play fantasy, right? And
I need to check.
yeah, I mean, I don't think, and neither anybody.
I had the Chiefs kicker, so I think
No, you
I
didn't.
did. I thought I did, or maybe someone else got him and I wanted him. I don't know.
I think Ruben has him.
Damn.
Or no, it's Ivan's girlfriend.
It's
But okay, so this is my problem with the game. Okay, the Chiefs won, but the last 2 drives of the game, the last 2 drives of the Chiefs, right? They were up by like 15, 20 points or whatever, and they reached the end zone both drives, right? And instead of like doing a Sammy Watkins lob or a Tyreek Hill slant pass, right? Keep in mind, I don't want the Chiefs to throw it to Travis Kelce because I'm playing Travis Kelce. You know, like I don't want. Which even then, Travis Kelce almost got as many points as Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce got 17 in our league, and Patrick Mahomes only got 20. So the last 2
Watson really got more points.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson had more points than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's like 0.4 more points, but still, it's more points.
You're gonna lose by 0.4 points, bro.
Yeah. So the last 2 drives of the game, they kept they were like 5 yards out from the end zone, and they kept handing the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he got stuffed every single time. Like, I get it, they're trying to like run the clock out or whatever, but like, come on, just like let Patrick Mahomes get another touchdown. Like, what are you doing? So and also Clyde Edwards-Helaire is gonna be really good. So
yes, I knew it. I called.
But I mean, I was hoping he wasn't, mainly because if he's a shitty running back, then that means that the Chiefs are gonna throw it 100 times more. But maybe he's such a good running back that that people would start blocking for him and leave.
They can throw it 100 times more. No, the
I don't know.
Chiefs and like the Packers are teams that you play the pass first. You don't play the run. You say, beat us with the run, we'll take that, but you're not going to throw it deep over us. The problem is that those teams still throw it deep over you because their quarterbacks are just that good.
Right. So the Chiefs could have destroyed the Texans. It could have been like 50-20. But
they have good sportsmanship.
Yeah, but I don't get that. Like, oh, we're not gonna score. We're just gonna let our running back get stuffed 5 yards out from the end zone when we could easily lob it to like. It's so annoying. Like, come on, bro. You know we want these fantasy points. You know we want them. Why you gotta take them from us? So.
That one dude who had the Texans defense is just crying in the corner. Thank you for stopping at 34.
Well, the Texans had 0. I mean, yeah, instead of the Texans going into negative,
yeah,
they just lucked out with 0. I mean, they beat the spread, I think, and then whatever else. Actually, no. I think the stat line for Patrick Mahomes was 3 touchdowns and 300 yards, which he didn't have 300 yards. He only had 200. Which that annoyed me, right? They ran the ball the entire game, like, but I can't get mad because it worked, right?
They played good football, bro. Quit crying about your fantasy.
I'm going to cry all day because I don't care about the Chiefs. I just want Patrick Mahomes to throw bombs.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to get into these pick'ems and like actually talk about them?
Sure.
They're the best we can about certain games. The first game, well, all these games, the first couple will start basically at the same time. It's the 10 a.m. games that we won't even be awake for, realistically.
If you go to church, you're gonna miss them. Sorry.
First game here on the schedule is the Jets-Bills game, which this game might be closer than one might think. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a division game, so you can definitely say that.
I have the Bills.
Same.
But keep in mind also, we're undefeated. We are 100%.
1-0, baby.
1-0. We've picked every single game that we've picked has been correct. So just keep that in mind. The Bills, the Jets, in my mind, aren't that bad, right? They're not a great team, but they're not a team that's going to lose. Like they're it's going to take effort to beat them, right?
Yeah.
You can't just beat them. So actually,
see, for me, they are a bad team because you need to take effort to beat them. But if you apply any effort whatsoever, you're gonna blow them out. Like,
right.
I don't think it's gonna be. They're one of the teams in my mind that are fighting for like that top 3 draft pick. I see like 5 wins, 6 wins out of them at most.
Right. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I can't name a single person off their defense, and Sam Darnold to me
is not. They don't have Tremaine Johnson anymore?
No, they don't have him. He's a free agent.
Dang.
And they traded Jamal Adams away.
The only guy I could have named off them was CJ Mosley, and he opted out.
He did opt out. So, CJ Mosley opted out, so. Dang.
They traded Leonard Williams, who was their other good player. He's on the Giants now.
Right.
They ain't got nobody on that defense.
The Bills about to eat
they have Quinnen Williams. They drafted him 2 years ago, right? Or
he hasn't. Has he done anything?
So it's my understanding that he's been playing good, but his position has such like he's not playing like Aaron Donald good, obviously. And the type of defensive tackle he is more of a run stopper.
Right. So he's not going to pop out on the stats team.
He's like Geno Atkins on the Bengals, right? He's just going to keep doing his job, but everyone around him is sucking so bad it doesn't matter.
Right.
At least from what I've read, that's how it's been going. I could be wrong.
Right. He could just be getting blown out and we just wouldn't know. Because we don't watch Jet games, realistically, right? When's the last time you've watched a Jets game? And the only reason I know about the Bills is because the Bills Mafia, and we love the Bills Mafia, all right?
I actually like the Bills, but yes, Bills Mafia is very fun.
I mean, I only like the Bills because of the Bills Mafia, all right? Whenever there's ketchup, breaking tables, anything else that goes on in those Bills parking lots, I am all for. But I think also just the Bills they got Josh Allen, right? Then they got Stephon Diggs. So I guess offensively they're better than the Jets defensively.
Didn't they draft or sign a running back?
Probably.
I thought they did.
I don't know.
They got last season a lot of their offensive linemen were injured, so they got them all back this year. They're healthy.
Right.
They've got Devin Singletary as their running back. They drafted 2 years ago.
Okay.
Diggs and John Brown, who played pretty good last year.
Oh, and don't they have Cole Beasley, the white boy that raps?
They got that white boy.
Yeah, he raps real. He's one of the best white rappers I know. Okay, so
and their defense. I mean, we all know that their defense is good.
It's a solid defense.
Thing is, they have Josh Norman as their number 2 corner, and I don't think that.
Hey, at least he's not their number 1. Okay. He can probably. I think his problem was he had a good season guarding number 1 receivers, And
He
then
made sure to cash out. You can't blame him. He
you
knew he
can't.
wasn't gonna come
He
back with it, and he's like, "I gotta cash out now."
All right. He should have never been in the position he was in to begin with. But you know what? You can't get mad at him for getting his bread. All right. Man got his bread, and now he's going to get humble. Okay. Packers Vikings. This game, I think, is going to be close. I don't know.
It might be close,
It,
but I think the Packers are still gonna win.
yeah. Yeah.
Because
I have the.
I don't think Kirk Cousins has beat the Packers a single time being on the Vikings.
I think he has, but it not notably. Like it wasn't.
Was it the year they went 7-9?
Probably. I don't know. I couldn't remember.
I don't think he's beaten the Bears either.
No. Actually, no. Yeah, you're right because Michael Trubisky is 3-0 against the Vikings, and it has thrown like 5 or 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against the
last
Vikings.
Year I looked, and they beat him both times.
Yeah, he has a ridiculous stat line against the Vikings.
Yeah, isn't there a stat? Kirk Cousins is like, he's only got 1 win, because I know he beat the Eagles last year, and they finished the season 9-7. And I think that's his only win against the team that finished the season with a winning record. That and then the Saints playoff game.
No, it's Kirk Cousins' stat is he can't win games in prime time.
I know that, but before that, like,
I think it's another team that has that stat line.
When he got his guaranteed money, a bunch of people came out with this stat that he hadn't beaten a team that finished the season with a winning record. The best he'd done was beat a team that was 8-8, and so it was. And that the one team he'd beaten that was 8-8, I think, was the Bengals. The year they started out like really good, like 6-0 or something, and they finished 8-8, I think.
Right.
And that was when he was on the Redskins. So it's like, I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. It's a pretty niche stat, but
I'm pretty sure I've heard that stat line before. I just don't know if it was attributed to Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah,
like someone has that stat line. I don't remember if it was Kirk Cousins. So yeah.
No, he's currently 6-29 against teams with a winning record in his career.
That's not bad.
but see, that stat means that he's 6-29 against teams that have a winning record when he plays them. So
right, not when they finish.
Finish with a winning record, and as to my knowledge, he's only got 2 wins in that case.
I think you know what the big thing I think for the Packers is their run game. And Aaron Jones is going to ball out. You know why? Because I believe Everson Griffen is out for the first 3 weeks of the season. So, big money moves. I was so happy when I heard that. I was like, yes, weaken that Vikings defensive line. We don't need, the Packers don't need that trouble. Just hand the ball to Aaron Jones. He's going to get all the touchdowns, all the rushing yards. Eagles are going to win. That's the next game. Eagles, Washington.
Yeah. I wish you could say otherwise, make it interesting, but Eagles are going to win. I don't think the Redskins will go 0-16. I don't think they're that bad. They'll manage to beat like the Giants or something.
I think that Washington will most definitely win a game. I just don't think it's going to be this game.
Yeah.
Probably halfway through the season, we'll realize like the tanking teams, and we'll have a tank bowl. Every season has a tank bowl, okay?
Well, last season the Redskins almost beat the Eagles. I remember week 1. So maybe not this game, but maybe in like the next time they play them, they do play them twice. So maybe they'll upset them then.
Right.
I have some hope.
Maybe they'll have some experience. Which that's not. I like Ron Rivera, and he's done so much for that organization because it is a terrible organization, right? Like in the short amount of time that he's been there, he's improved it.
He hasn't even played a game yet, and they're significantly. We're talking about them being the worst team in the NFL, and we think that that's an improvement from what they had.
They were so like low level that even being slightly like still being the worst team in the NFL, but slightly better is like such a massive improvement. So,
because like think about it, last year, who had the number 1 pick? It was the Dolphins, right?
No, it was the Bengals.
The Bengals. Do you think the Bengals were worse than the Redskins last year?
No. I think it was just an inexperienced head coach that just couldn't figure out how to win football games, right?
People expected him to be the next Sean McVay because that's where he came from, and it's like, don't be stupid, okay? He has no team. Even if he is the next Sean McVay, he doesn't have a team to work with.
The Washington was just like, come on, guys, what are you doing? What is this?
Like, Alex Smith got hurt, yeah, but you can't keep crying about it. You gotta get going.
I mean, Alex Smith is back though. Do you think he gets a starting job?
I hope so. I think Dwayne Haskins is gonna lose it pretty soon into the season.
I have faith in Dwayne Haskins.
Or they trade Alex Smith.
You know what surprised me in the offseason? They traded for what's his name, Kyle Allen, which the Panthers
backup
starting quarterback last season. Okay, thank you very much. Which that one surprised me. I think they traded him for like a 4th or a 5th, which isn't that much, but still.
Yeah, why would you want 3 quarter? I mean, you've already said Dwayne Haskins is your starter.
I believe Colt McCoy was still on the roster at the time, so yeah, it was a lot of quarterbacks to bring on. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Maybe because they didn't think Alex Smith would be back, but Alex Smith is a real man, So the Eagles winning this week, Washington. Maybe next week. Who knows? Probably not next week either. The Browns, Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens mainly because the Browns, I think, haven't won an opening game since, I don't remember the exact year, but I'm just going to say 2005. But it's a very long losing streak.
It's a long time, yeah.
It's a very long time.
So I remember a similar stat with the 49ers a couple of years ago. There was a stat they hadn't lost an opening game in like a decade or something. Like it was something stupid, right? Like no matter how good or bad they feel it. Like there was a year we went 2-14. We won that opening game season still. So those stats, obviously, I mean, they hold pretty true most of the time. But since then, we've broken that stat. And I think it's ironic. Our first year with Jimmy G as a starter, and that's the year that we break that streak. We lose to the Vikings in week 1, I think. But I'm personally going to go with Cleveland on this one because last season, Cleveland beat Baltimore early in the season, right after they went on those, like, ridiculous games against the Dolphins and Bengals, right, where they like blew them out.
Wait, you talking about Cleveland blew out the Dolphins and Eagles?
No, or the Ravens after they blew out those teams.
Okay, yeah.
And then their first loss was to the Browns, and it was, I forget what the score was, but it was decently close. But I think that a similar thing happens is Cleveland just plays a little bit better earlier in the season.
Which I think this first week we're definitely going to see a lot more of a. I like none of these picks I'm 100% on because I still in the back of my mind believe that like I was surprised that the Texans Chiefs game was as good as it was, right? Like I was expecting like so much worse, like such
50-10. Like come on,
well, not even that. It's more like. I was expecting
actual gameplay itself,
like missed tackles, like offsides every 10 seconds, like. But it wasn't really like that. I think it was like the Chiefs had like 1 or 2 penalties, and then the Texans had like 1 or 2 pass interference.
Wait till that Raiders game, bro.
Raiders,
plenty of penalties then.
You know what? I think you know what. I'm sticking with the Ravens because I believe in Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to have... I don't think he's going to have a better season than he had last year. It's going to be really hard for him to reproduce what he did last year. But the Ravens only got better this offseason. I don't think they got worse in any department. I guess you could say that for the Browns as well.
Yeah, you can say that for most teams. Like, as long as you're not the Redskins or the Jaguars, then I
Yeah,
mean, my bad, Washington football team or the Jaguars, then you got better this season.
right. Actually, that's so weird in my mind. Like, you can say that teams got better every year, yet somehow teams do worse, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say the Texans, the
the Texans didn't
Washington,
get better. Texans
yeah,
did not
but
get better.
the Texans, the Washington football team, the Jaguars, and the Patriots are the only four teams I think that didn't get better in the offseason.
Which is weird because for you to get better, other teams have to lose assets, right?
Right. And so it's weird that those four teams are the only ones that didn't get better. That's what I think is weird because I'd say every other team in the league
Poached an
got
even
better.
amount of talent from other teams where,
Yes.
as a collective, everyone got better, right?
And I'd say the Patriots' biggest problem would be their opt-outs, right? They
Yeah,
can't. It's not their fault they didn't get better. I mean, it's
right.
not their fault they got worse, right? It's
It's no
just the
team
players
unless
being
you're the
scared of dying.
Jaguars. Yeah, it's not your fault unless you're the Jaguars
Yeah,
that you didn't get
that's
better.
right.
But before we do the Jaguars Colts game, I will say my favorite part about the Texans game is Andy Reid's like face shield. He had like a little face shield hat thing going on, and throughout the entire game, it was just fog. You couldn't see his face. Like you could, it was so funny to watch and look at. Like, I mean, it's a look. Honestly, I'd rock it. You know, I'd. Oh man, that was funny. Okay, Jags, Colts are winning. I know it's a very bold statement to say. Um,
I'm gonna say a bolder statement and say the Jaguars win because I'm gonna
okay.
give. I mean, again, they're one of those teams where I'm like, they have to win one game, right? Like, I don't think any team this year is bad enough to go 0-16.
Which
And
even the
if the
year the Browns,
Jaguars can't win their home division games, then what games are we expecting them to win, right? Like, the division games are supposed to be the most like evenly matched, right? Like, no
right?
matter if you're the best team or the worst team in your division, you have a shot against the other guy. And so I have to give it to the Jack. I just if they don't win this, then I think they could go 0-16, and I just don't see them being that bad.
I see them that bad because Gardner Minshew can't throw to himself. Okay, no matter how much you believe in that, he can't throw to himself. Even then, we don't know if he's a good quarterback, right? Like, I want to believe that he's a good quarterback because I just like the guy. The guy's a likable dude, right? But he can't throw to himself and he can't play defense. Maybe he can. We don't know that. But right now he's not playing defense. So the Jaguars just don't have anything.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's 0-16, but also like they're not good. So
They can go if they win this game, they still go 1-15.
you know what we also haven't accounted for is Charger levels of fans in the stands at basically every game, and then no fans in some games.
The Chargers aren't going to experience any difference when they go
Okay, we can say the Chargers don't experience a difference this season, but like other teams, like say the
Well, they're used to it, so they're going to play better. I see what you're saying.
yes, I say the Chargers go 12-4. They absolutely go on a tear because you know what? They've never played with fans. Right?
Y'all worried you ain't got support, but we been on the streets.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like the Texans game or the Chiefs game had like 15,000 people in the stands, right? Which it's a lot of people, but like if you look at this game, it's like patches of people, and I doubt they're making the normal amount of noise.
Well, the NFL set a limit. I believe you can only have 20% of
Right.
whatever you can fit.
So a Chargers game. So they looked at the Chargers attendance and went, "That's a good amount of people." even then, I think they looked out sell out Chargers games because I think they still played in that soccer stadium, so they could only fit 10,000 people. And even then, they don't sell out most of those games, so it's really bad. So the lack of, or in the Chargers case, advantage of home, like I feel like home field advantage is still a thing in this season, mainly because like home teams don't have to travel, right? Like they don't have to get in a plane the day before a game and fly like across the country. So
Yeah.
I think home field advantage is still a thing. It's just not as big of a factor. So I consider most of these games just to be neutral, if anything. So yeah, Colts are going to win. On to the Raiders-Panthers game. This game is interesting to me because I don't think the Panthers are a good team this year. I think this is like a building year for the Panthers, right? Like 7-9, 8-8 type season where they see where they're at, and then next year they can get better.
Yeah.
The Raiders, on the other hand, it's in my mind a break or make season, right? Either you do really well and go to the playoffs, or you suck and you dismantle everything.
Under normal circumstances, I would agree with you. But given the idiocy of the Raiders to give John Gruden that 10-year contract back in like 2 years ago, I mean, I think they're going to be stuck with him for those whole 10 years. I don't think they have much of a choice.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. John Gruden can do whatever he wants for the next
He's got job security for the next 8 years.
Right? Like he could go 0-16 for the next 5 years and he'd still have his job. Right? Like it's going to be impossible to get rid of him. But you know what? Actually, you're right, because I don't think Raider management is that smart to go, you know what? We need to reevaluate what's happening in this building and reevaluate our draft process and the players we're bringing in and who we're trading away.
Yeah.
So
the smartest guy in that management is Mike Mayock, and the owner just tells John Gruden, tell Mike Mayock what to do. So it's like, it doesn't matter.
Right. So even then, this game is going to be the hardest game for me to choose, mainly because I see two bad teams. I don't see a tank bowl, but I see two poorly managed teams, right? And also,
which is weird. It's poorly managed as in like upper divisions, right? Not necessarily on the field management, except John Gruden. I don't like John Gruden.
And also Matt Rule is a new coach, so like we don't know what he's going to provide, right? Like
I'd expect to see a similar season that the Cardinals gave last year.
Right, like what, 6-10, 7-9,
something like that. Maybe the week one's a tie, just like the Cardinals last season.
Oh, you know what? No, we don't do in ties, John. All right, we do in absolutes.
I got excited for a second. You were really thinking about it.
Hey, you know what? No, we deal in absolutes. Either your team sucks or your team's great. There's no in between.
You don't even have to be good. You just gotta be better than whoever you're playing, okay?
Just slightly better, if anything. And I think the Raiders are slightly rated better than the Panthers.
So I'm gonna give it to the Panthers because they're the home team, and
Are
like
they?
you said, it's a slight advantage, but I still will give it to the Panthers.
Oh yeah, it is the home game for the Panthers. Well, you know what? They got Teddy Bridgewater. They got DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore. DJ Moore's a good guy.
Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I completely forgot about. You know what? Yeah, it's the Panthers. I completely forgot about Christian McCaffrey.
I'm hoping he pops off for 40
Oh my
on
god!
fantasy.
Oh, you kidding me? He's gonna be the entire offense that game. You telling me the Raiders are gonna find a way to stop Christian McCaffrey? Hell no. He's gonna throw 5 touchdowns if he wants. Honestly. Yeah. So you know what? You convinced me, John. It's 100% the Panthers. Panthers are gonna destroy the Raiders. It's gonna be a blowout.
It's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be A blowout for the Panthers.
You know what, John? I deal in absolutes, all right? It's a blowout. 50-10. Call it.
All 50 from Christian McCaffrey.
All 50 from Christian McCaffrey.
He's kicking too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We forgot to mention that the Panthers kicker hurt himself earlier in practice, so Christian McCaffrey has to kick. Bears, Lions. I believe Mitchell Trubisky is starting. So
yeah, I'm sad.
Yeah. Big Richard sadly got benched. Matt Patricia, if he has another 4-12 season, he's gonna get fired, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, he can blame it on Matthew Stafford getting hurt. So it's like I think that Lions fans feel the same way. So they're not gonna care. They're like, Matthew Stafford got hurt. So this season, if he stays healthy, this is the season you got to do good. But I mean, I remember last year Lions fans were like, we went 3-0 with Matthew Stafford. We were gonna go undefeated. He got hurt. No. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like you tied the Cardinals. Calm down.
Right. So I still don't know whether or not Matt Patricia is a good coach. Right. I think he's an above average coach. I just don't know.
Defensive coordinator. I think we know that. But
right.
That doesn't translate to
head coach. So, and then the Bears are the Bears. Yeah, and they're not bad. It's just they're not good, right?
Yeah.
Like, they'll win games, but it's like you're not confident that they'll win games.
And this is a division game too, and I don't know. I feel like they're pretty evenly matched, honestly. Like I personally I will give it to the Lions because it's their home game. So if in my head every division team kind of splits unless you're like playing the Redskins twice.
Right.
I'd say you win your home games, and so for me that's why I would go with the Lions here.
I'm trying to think, because in my head it's always who has the better offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I think who is the better? I think the Bears have the better defense
for sure.
So
I think the Lions have the better offense because they have Matthew Stafford and they signed Adrian Peterson. So they have Adrian Peterson and Kerryon Johnson. They drafted DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, you know what? They have a lot in that running back.
They have Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. And they have TJ Hawkinson. They drafted him too last year. And their offensive line's pretty good.
It is.
So to me, they beat the Bears in everything. Okay, like they have, at least offensively, except maybe offensive line. I mean, the Bears have the Lions essentially have multiple versions of everything that the Bears have. Like the Bears have Tariq Cohen, they have Mitch Trubisky, and they have Allen Robinson. And the Lions are like, we're gonna take what you have and double it. We got Kerryon Johnson and Adrian Peterson. We got Matthew Stafford and Chase Daniel. We got Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay.
Okay, yeah, the Lions, but the Lions.
Surprised if the Bears win.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say the Lions.
Yeah, I want to say the Bears, but it's like, Lions.
Yeah,
like,
I'm kind. You say we deal in absolutes, and I'm kind of like, if I can give it to the team I think's a little bit worse, then I'm gonna take that opportunity and do it, right? Because if I don't, then I'm gonna have every bad team go 0-16.
Someone has to fumble a game, right?
When a bad team has a shot, I'm giving it to them full force.
So Seahawks, Falcons, Seahawks. I think. Yeah. Actually. Yeah, Seahawks. They got better.
I think the Falcons are going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year, unfortunately.
I don't think they're going to be that bad. Actually, they're going to be that bad. Because they have to play
Julio Jones, and that's it.
Well, that and also I guess they could probably be the Panthers in their division, but they're going to lose to the Saints twice.
I think they'll lose to the Saints twice.
And then
I think
they'll split.
They have a chance to beat the Buccaneers.
You know what? We don't know what the Buccaneers are going to look like, so it's really hard to tell.
Assuming the Buccaneers are really good,
right? Or somewhat decent, which
is
assuming
hard. They're fighting with the Saints for like division,
Hmm.
which I'd say is best case scenario, then I think the Falcons will have a tough time beating them once.
Right. So Seahawks, absolutes. Seahawks are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins, Patriots. I think the Dolphins win.
See, so I have the same thought, but I'm like, again,
I don't.
the Patriots are in a point where it's like they still have,
Okay.
Cam Newton, Sony Michel, like they still have a workable team, right? Like they didn't
Yeah.
fall off a cliff. They went from being Super Bowl contenders to being fighting for the division title, which for them, I guess, given their history, is
Really bad.
But when you're projected to go like 8-8, 9-7,
It's not bad.
you're not terrible.
I've
So
lived half my life with a Rams team that consistently went 8-8. All right, I know that life. Okay, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies, honestly, John. Okay, 8-8 every single season, knowing that if you just win one more game, you're going to the playoffs, or like lose one more game, you'll have a better draft pick. Like, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. So I expect Patriot fans to be very angry this season, mainly because they're used to Super Bowls, but they're not going
Yeah.
to see any of that. They're going to see
Like,
8-8 seasons.
I personally like what the Niners did is like we go to the Super Bowl, and then 2 years later we go 2-14, so we can start rebuilding that Super Bowl roster. Whereas the Patriots went, now we're gonna go to the Super Bowl, and then we're gonna be stuck with the 17th pick every single year.
Right.
And that's a terrible way to go. So
I think
I'll say the Patriots because again it's a division game, so I think both these teams are even enough now that they'll split. And so Patriots home game, I give it to them.
I think it's the Dolphins because the Dolphins poached a bunch of Patriots talent. So that, and I just saw the Dolphins got better this offseason. Like they really did. They got a lot better. Like they're tanking.
A lot better for them is like they went from the worst team to like maybe the 15th best team, which is a huge jump.
It's a really big jump.
Still,
but
don't
they balled
expect,
out
like,
in free
playoffs or
agency.
anything.
They got a top corner. They got a good linebacking core. They got the quarterback they were tanking for, even though they had like the 5th overall pick, right? Like we knew they were tanking for Tua, and somehow Tua was there when they were drafting. So I think it's the Dolphins' game to lose. I'll put it like that. Okay, Chargers, Bengals. Joe Burrow is starting. Do I think that's enough for them to win? No. So I'm picking the Chargers.
I see. This is another thing where it's like I want to give it to the bad team. Like this is where it's gotta go. But even like I just don't like the Chargers. I think they're
right. I hate the Chargers. I like constantly every year I see them as 0-16, but it's like
it's like they don't, and I'm like, what the heck? How are you doing this? I don't. How you're not.
Everyone on your roster is dead. How are you doing this?
I like Chargers. Like I like Tyrod Taylor, who's their starting quarterback, not Justin Herbert.
Tyrod Taylor I like him. He's a good guy. He's a hardworking guy.
Honestly, I like their coach. I like Anthony Lynn. It's just, and I like
the organization. I hate the organization.
I don't understand how. Like, I feel like all their good players are being wasted on them. Like, get Derwin James out of there. Get them all out.
Let them find an actual organization that will help them.
Yeah. So, and then also the Chargers historically do better on the road. I feel like
they don't. They're always on the road. What's the big deal?
But when it's technically their road game, they somehow do better than when it's just, a road game.
Yeah, so, when it's an away road game versus a home road game, it's two very different things.
So I'll take Bengals just to stick with my bias.
Okay.
I hope the Chargers are the one team I hope go 0-16.
I hope
assets for draft picks.
I hope that every year, and somehow they manage to squeeze into the playoffs. So Cardinals, 49ers. I'm picking the 49ers. I do see. I honestly, this year, are the playoffs expanded to 17 games this year, or
it is? It's 7 teams make the playoffs. So one more team's going to make the playoffs.
Okay. And I think bold prediction. I think
all the NFC West teams.
NFC West teams can make it. I honest to God think they could do it.
So this is I think they could do it, and I think it'd be really fun to watch. My only problem with that, because I thought of that too, but the only problem is that if they all split, then they're all hindering each other by 3 games automatically. Like
Well,
every team would have to essentially try to win out, right? Like you
hmm
have to get at least 10 wins then. Because think about like the Saints and the Bucks. I think at least one of them is gonna get 10 wins, right? Like there's other teams in the NFC North, the Bears, Packers, Lions, Vikings. Those teams are gonna be competing for playoffs. So to say that you can be the worst team in your division and still make the playoffs is a very bold prediction, but I like it. I want it to happen.
see, the only reason I think that is because like the only team that gets a bye this year is the number one seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's going to be a point in the season where like I think it's either the Seahawks or the 49ers are going to win the division, right?
Oh, and then just stop like trying to win games,
Mm-hmm. Or not
and then
stop, but like realize that they're probably not going to get the number one spot.
mhm.
So it lose to like the Cardinals and the
See,
Rams later
I
on in the
have the
season.
opposite. So my thing, I think the Niners and Seahawks are going to be neck and neck the whole season, and I think they're going to be significantly further ahead than like the Saints. Like I think the Seahawks and Niners are going to
Mm,
be fighting for the number 1 seed, and then the Saints are probably going to be the 2 seed, but they're not going to be close enough to get the 1 seed. You know what I mean?
right. And then
So that'll leave. But that's the horrible
okay,
thing
all
about
right.
our
This is
playoffs.
this is what I think is probably going to happen, right? 49ers or Seahawks get the number one seed, right? And
Hmm.
whichever team didn't get the number one seed is going to be the number three seed. Then I see the Rams
No,
as like a
that's not gonna
5 or
work.
6 wild card team.
No. So the top 4 teams
Oh,
are still the division winners.
okay. So
Whoever
then,
doesn't get the wild card is the 5th seed.
oh,
So
right.
they actually want the wild card, or they actually want the ones like, especially since it's the only bye. Like teams aren't gonna quit at the end of the season and be like,
Mm-hmm.
we got a top seed, you know. They're like, we want that 1 seed. So when it comes down to the Niners,
So
they're gonna
actually, you
be
know what?
fighting for each other too much, I think, because they both play the Rams and Cardinals late in the season, right?
Right.
And so they're gonna be trying to actually win those games. They're not just gonna give it to them. So that's why I think it's gonna be harder for all 4 of them to get in the playoffs because of how competitive the top 2 teams are gonna have to be.
Right. I still okay. So then I think it's gonna be like Seahawks 5, Rams 6, and then
All 7.
probably
That's what it'll have to be. Five, six,
it's
one,
yeah,
5, 6, and 7, or
yeah. I you know
50%, 60% of the playoffs.
yeah, I don't know, but I still think the 49ers take this first game. I just
Yeah,
the
I
Cardinals
do too.
improved, but I don't see them like
It's the home games that
yeah.
division teams win, so that'll
Also,
happen later.
I see the Cardinals as like like I see them as a fringe playoff spot at 9 and 7 for this year, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
think they're that much improved. Okay, so Bucks Saints. I think I have the Saints in this game. I can't confidently say that the Bucks are better than the Saints because I just haven't seen the Saints play. Right?
Especially in NOLA, like the Saints have a historic record of
It,
winning at home.
yeah, in NOLA, you know.
Shut
Um,
up. That's what it's called.
uh, yeah, the Saints. From what I've seen of the Saints, I believe in the Saints more. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the next matchup, like after we've seen the Bucks actually play, the Bucks will have it. I think it's just like I'm hesitant to pick the Bucks mainly because you just you don't know what you're getting, right? Is Tom Brady still a good quarterback? Does he thrive in the new system? Um, are the Saints improved like we think
Yeah.
they've improved? Or not the Saints, the Bucks. Um, okay, Cowboys Rams. I have the Rams in this game.
Hmm.
Uh, mainly because I just see the Rams as a better team over the Cowboys.
So when I looked at this game, I do see the Rams as a better team than the Cowboys, but I did last year too, and the Rams got blown out by the Cowboys last year. So that made me think, who improved more, right? Like
Right.
if that was the outcome last year, right? And I think the biggest factor would be the Cowboys have a new head coach. And so you would think, oh, that means the Rams are going to win. But to me, that means Sean McVay can't look at last year's game and go, I made this mistake, this mistake, this mistake, right? It's a whole new scheme
Right.
that he's going up against. And I don't, I think this week one will be the Cowboys, no one really knowing how they're going to play, right? Like, obviously, we have Mike McCarthy's film, but we don't know how these players are going to, like, Dak Prescott isn't going to do what Aaron Rodgers did with Mike McCarthy, right? So the way he plays with these players, or the way he coaches with these players, I think will be different. So this week one game, I kind of see as like, no one knows what the Cowboys are going to do, so they managed to steal it. And I also think their offseason improvements were better than the Rams' offseason improvements, right? I think from the last game from the Cowboys Rams games last season to now, the Cowboys got better than the Rams got better, right? Does that make sense, right? Like
Yeah.
their improvement percentage was higher.
See,
So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys just because of those like kind of weird factors that deal specifically with the Cowboys this season.
I my main argument, because when I was looking at teams and like things like that, and like looking at other people's predictions for the season, a lot of people had the Rams going like 6-10, 7-9, and I was like, that's like the
It seems
Rams
low to
that
me. I'd
like
see 9-7 because that's what they won
right
last year.
9-7, 10
didn't
and
get better
10
or
and
worse
6.
too much.
Like the Rams this season, their main thing is like, could Jared Goff's play improve? Does the running like people saying that the loss of Todd Gurley is a big deal? It's
Like, he didn't
not.
play that much last
Like
season.
yeah, it's not a big deal. Like they got rid of him because he wasn't playing, and they're
Yeah.
trying out the running back by committee. So it's like, I mean, it can't
For
get
me,
much
my biggest question with them would be the offensive line. Is it going to play like
right.
it did their Super Bowl
Which
year, or is it going to keep sucking?
which surprisingly, well, last year, like the Super Bowl run and the year before that, if it wasn't for like the week 17 of the year before the Super Bowl run, then the offensive line would have played 32 consecutive games together, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
without missing a single snap. So last season, it was just a matter of like people kept getting injured and he had to swap people in and out. So I think the offensive line play will improve. It's just a matter of how much it will improve. And like it was another weird stat is the Rams last year gave up the fewest amount of sacks, right? But were ranked the 31st worst offensive line by Pro Football Focus.
I think that would be because of
the run game.
The run game,
yeah,
how bad it was.
So,
which is incredible. Like, you can be that good at protecting your quarterback, but you are so bad at blocking for your running backs that you are the second worst offensive line.
Right. So,
which I don't put much stock into PFF, but if you do, then that's a big.
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Which also, and you know, I'm a Rams fan, so like obviously this is like the team I look at like 24/7 and analyze. So I have a lot to say about them as a team. I think they got better mainly because they drafted a wide receiver in the 3rd round called Vance Joseph, and a lot of people when he got drafted were like, oh, they drafted Brandon Cook's replacement. And so the receiver core is Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Van Joseph. Van Joseph, he's getting more 1st-round reps than Josh Rollins is. So he's probably going to end up being a Brandon Cooks type of player. Yeah. Yeah. He's going to be the deep threat ball that the Rams desperately need. So,
and then on the flip side, I would tell you, well, the Packers or the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb, so you can suck a nut because we kind of better receiver than you anyways.
Right.
But also in my head, as a Niners fan, I'm more scared of the Rams than the Cowboys. So there's that part of me where it's like, well, if I don't give the Cowboys this game, then they're going to end up going like 5-11. I need to start giving them games. That way later when the games matter, I can have them lose.
Right. Like the Rams are already in a position where they
I think
They
the Rams
need to
can get
win.
away with losing a few games early. Like if the Rams went, I don't know, something crazy like 0-3 or 0-4, I think they could
It's
still go like 10-6 and win
right.
enough games to get the playoffs. If the Cowboys start out 0-3 or 0-4, I
They're
don't
done
think
for. They're
they
done for.
manage.
Actually, well, in their division, we
They'll
forgot
go
about this.
7-9 and still win their division.
We forgot about this. Last year, it was a genuine belief that someone in the NFC could go 7-9 and make the playoffs. Somehow, the Eagles went 8-8 or 9-6.
9-7, 9-7.
Or yeah, 9-7, barely. It was
One
barely
game away. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And I think it was their last game was against Washington, but Washington didn't basically gave it to them. So it was like
they gave it to them. So
it was a genuine belief that someone 8-8, which I think the last time that happened was
the reason. But this is the reason. So the media obviously like panders to the Cowboys. So the Cowboys could only make the playoffs if they went 8-8. So everyone had the Cowboys going 8-8, and the Eagles going 7-9, and the Cowboys making the playoffs.
right.
And then I'm like, no. I think it's gonna be the Eagles go 8-8 and the Cowboys go 7-9. The Eagles make the playoffs. But the Eagles won one more game. But this season, I think, unless they both sweep the Giants and the Redskins, then they probably will go 8-8, 7-9, and win.
We didn't say this about the Eagles earlier. The main reason their problem last season was injury. So which they've already dealt with injuries so far this year, right? But
season hasn't even started.
Right, the season hasn't even started, and they're already dealing with injuries. So hopefully, the hope is that they don't deal with injuries as badly as they did last year. So that's their main thing going forward.
Well, I mean, Cowboys fans will tell you, their biggest problem last year was coaching. So now that they fix that, it's going to be better. And Mike McCarthy's better than Jason Garrett. Like,
hopefully,
in the sense, like, a banana's better than an orange. Right?
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see if he's actually better, right? Like you don't really know. Okay, so Steelers Giants. This game's, I think, gonna be interesting, mainly because Big Ben is back, and I just want to see how he does. Right? Like, is he good Big Ben, or is he okay Big Ben?
Is he old and he finally fell off that cliff?
Right.
I have confidence in Big Ben. I think he's too arrogant to fall off the cliff. He's not gonna let it happen. He's gonna quit when he wants to, which I think is soon. So I think it'll be a fun game to watch. These are two, I don't want to say good teams. The Giants didn't do too good last year, but they're good,
above average teams. They won't make the playoffs, but they'll make someone miss the playoffs.
Could make the playoffs, but I think they could.
Well, in their division, I don't think they could.
West. See, they'll be, but with 3 wild cards, you told me they aren't going to make one of the 3 wild cards.
Okay. You know what? With 3 wild cards, they probably squeak in as the number 7 seed.
The Patriots, I mean, let's say the Bills go like 10-6 and win the division. I think the Steelers could go 10-6 and be the bottom wild card, right?
Yeah.
So we were both saying Steelers then to beat the Giants.
Yeah. No, the Steelers are definitely. It's hard to pick one for this game because it's like, if Big Ben is not as good as he was, then the Giants are winning. But if he's even at half as good as he was, right? They're gonna win. So I think I'm gonna probably go with the Steelers this game, and I don't know.
We both just have a bias against the Steelers because of Jordan, right?
I mean,
our friend's a Steelers fan, so we have to hate the Steelers.
I despise the Steelers. If it was up to me, they'd lose.
The only team I dislike more than the Steelers is the Chargers.
Right, I agree with you. I hate the Chargers, which is weird because you'd think like being fans.
They're such a weird team to dislike. Like they're a neutral team.
Like you'd think we'd hate like the Cardinals or the Seahawks more, right? But no, I despise the Chargers and I despise the Steelers.
I I like every team in the NFC West. I think they're
Right.
just fun to watch. But then the Chargers, it's and they're one of those teams too, where it's like, if your team isn't playing, you're just kind of like, I'll root for the LA team or for the California team, right? And
Right.
I'm like, no,
No.
I hate the Chargers.
No.
They could be playing the freaking Las Vegas Raiders. I'm rooting for the Las Vegas. I don't like the Raiders either, but I hate the Chargers a lot.
I think it's just because they should be in San Diego. All right, what are you doing? What are you doing in LA? You have no reason to be here. So yeah, Steelers. All right, last game. The Steelers and Giants game and the Titans and Broncos games are Monday night games. We've already gone through every single Sunday night.
Monday?
They're both Monday. So, and then Texas. Wait, should we be doing Monday?
Yeah.
We should be doing Monday because we won't. We have Tuesday. Okay, yeah, all right. Texans Broncos is the last game, so that's to finish off week 1. This game, Texans.
Titans Broncos.
Titans
Broncos.
Yeah,
Texans,
my bad.
Broncos.
Yeah, we're recording this at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, Titans.
See, I'm gonna say the Broncos because the Titans always get good at the end of the season. So this is too early for them to be good, right? They're the team that's gonna go 0-4 and then finish the season 10-6, and you're like, what the heck?
See,
I don't know.
I look at the Titans,
0-4, but you know,
I look at the Titans as the Patriots 2 years ago. Okay, you could look at the Patriots 2 years ago and then look at the Titans.
Just act Derrick Henry, and it's the same team.
It is the exact same team. Are you a player that just got off your contract with the Patriots? Well, come on down to Tennessee because they got a spot for you. Okay.
This is winning rehabilitation. We adjust you back to the losing lifestyle.
All right. I think this game is lost for me mainly because of the loss of Von Miller. I think this is the game that they lose because of Von Miller being gone. Granted, I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule. There might be another game, but I think Von Miller solidifies their front seven, and so having him gone allows the Titans to get their run game going.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans already have one of, if not the best offensive line in the league, plus Derrick Henry. But that's my problem, is I don't think Derrick Henry will be playing very good the first couple weeks of the season.
That's always his problem, right? Like, it takes halfway through the season. That's why I don't like picking up, like, Derrick Henry this year was like the top running back to pick, right? Like one of the top running backs. But it's like, when I was picking my running backs, he was there for me to pick, but it's like, do I want to...
He's going to sit there for a month? Like, come on.
Do I want him to sit there for an entire month of my, like... Is he good in the playoffs? Like fantasy playoffs? Yeah. Yes. But is it worth me losing the first half of my season? No. So,
so for me, I'm going to say the Broncos, but I definitely understand why you would say the Titans. I think this is one of the closer games on the schedule. This is like the Panthers-Raiders games in my eyes.
I mean, I don't see a lot of these games being blowouts, really. This is kind of a good opening week.
Even like,
I mean, the Eagles game,
Redskins game, I don't see it being a blowout because it's a division game, and the Redskins historically have done decent against the Eagles. Right. The last couple of years, even when they've been bad, they've still managed to at least put up a fight. So
put up somewhat of a fight. So this is Friday's episode. Okay, that's our picks for the first week of football. Hope you enjoyed. John, do you want to do a little promo for what you have planned on this coming Tuesday's episode?
On Tuesday's episode, I don't know, because I don't want him to do bad on Saturday.
Okay.
We'll just hold off on it.
All right. Well, we'll leave you on a little. John has a player that he's going to share.
There's a college football player that's coming out in the draft, and I will be hyping him up should he perform on Saturday.
Regardless of his performance, because he is a really good player, all right?
Yeah, even if he does bad, I'm going to be like, it was just a bad game.
So stay tuned for next week, and then we'll also, be picking the the Thursday night games, and also making predictions most likely for the Western Conference Finals, or the end of the Eastern Conference Finals once those are set, and whatever other crazy news in sports comes out. All right, have a good one, y'all. Bye bye.